So now I want to describe what is my personal dream and a vision for the future. The best solution that I can see in the near future is that we develop a kind of super system where all of the interests of all of the people on the whole planet is taken care of. So you can have a super intelligent system that makes sure that the primary needs of all people without exception is taken care of. Of course, this is a long-term project, and it can take the time that it takes. But to make it more specific, we can simply look at things like physical safety and health and balance, freedom to move and be able to express oneself and do great things. This freedom to do great things can be built upon, and we could have a kind of super system where all of the advantages of the society is being built on. So everyone could use their unique abilities in such a way that everything can work well for everyone, plain and simple. That's the basic idea. So the idea is to have a global super system that can integrate all of the existing systems and make sure they cooperate supremely well. Now, one key to make this happen is to have fantastic communications between people. This can be achieved through a combination of physical events and digital communication. In the digital communication, it can be a connection of video, images, and text, written text. In this sense, we can develop an open source science for how to develop human communications to totally new level. Now, people like Tim Ferriss and Joe Rogan and James Altucher and Dave Rubin, many of those people have already begun on a similar process with what they call podcasts. Now, podcasts is a way for people to meet under friendly conditions and have relatively casual, informal conversations. And yet, those conversations can touch upon all sorts of subjects, very important general subjects, and one can share any kind of idea. then the great thing about the podcast format is that the whole conversation can be filmed, and then it can be shared on the internet afterwards, so that people can watch them from their homes. And if there's certain very interesting parts, then those parts can be watched again and again. And the people themselves can also watch it, and they can learn from it, because it's gonna enable them to see themselves from the outside, so to speak. Now, everything that's happened so far with podcasting, as far as I can see, is only scratching the surface of what we could achieve through these absolutely amazing communication technologies, which has evolved over a very, very short period of time. So the Supersystem is an idea for a global network of networks, and a database, a movement, and an evolving science. A science of communication, a science of cooperation, and a science of using what is already here in ways that bring about benefits far beyond what we've seen so far. Now, especially human relationships should have a primary concern here, because it's been very clearly seen that the quality of human relationships to a very large extent determines the quality of the human life of any individual. It's very important for people to be happy, to have people around them who are supporting, encouraging, inspiring, and groups of people who can learn together. So the Supersystem then will take as its starting point exactly the way things are today, and then from that starting point try to arrange events in such a way that the events proceed better for everyone. Now, the brilliant thing about this idea is that it is so easy to measure. The only measurement you need is one button, and that button can say many things, but for example, it can say, "This was a success." And if you've got a certain number of people who are involved in a sort of cooperation, and if every one of them pushes this button, then we know we have found something that works. So then we can repeat this and build upon it. So this is the recipe for the science. The interesting thing here is that this is a totally empirical science, which is actually far more empirical than any of the sciences in the universities, because this can be directly video documented. If one wants to, of course, you don't have to film everything, but you can film a great deal. And when you film a great deal, you can use what works and discard what does not work. Another very fascinating aspect of this is that because everyone's interests are combined, since the purpose of the system is to look after the interests of absolutely everybody, this means that for the first time in human history, we will have the ability of crowd-sourced strategic cooperation, where we can gamify strategic development in a way where the incentives are lined up to share openly the best information any individual has. And where you got a system where each individual will look after their own self-interests by giving maximum value to the rest of society. Now, once we have this system in place, this can be integrated with all the other existing systems. And for example, we can totally get rid of political parties. Because we're not going to need political parties anymore, we're just going to have one party, and that's going to be the people party that works for the people. So all the conflicts of politics, all the bullshit debates, all the propaganda and lying, pretty much all of that can just disappear. Because we're not going to need it anymore. And then we can just continue testing. One of the key principles that anyone can cooperate on is to use resources more efficiently. Another question is, how can we organize communication better? So in short, the Supersystem can build on what is already here, combine things in new ways, and make something absolutely spectacular out of it, where everyone is happy, no one has any reason to complain, and we can all work together.